Hey everybody, it's Steven from Toastamac. Hello, Miss Sharon Starkey. Nice to see you. Gonna wait a couple minutes for people to come in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So, how am I doing? Could be better. This past week, I had to deal with sciatica nerve pains, which I will go over in this stream because that's what the stream's all about. And today, life was like, this guy's going through a lot. Sciatica nerve pains are not fun, I mean, it stops someone from doing things. You would be better. Let's make him sick. That's gonna be perfect. That'll show him. Thankfully, it's not anything serious. It's not COVID. I just feel icky. So I'm gonna take tomorrow to rest, and then hopefully Sunday I'll be able to finally work on that baking video I told you about, the one of the brownie videos. I've been meaning to do that for the month of September, but like the sciatica nerve really threw everything for a loop, so I wasn't able to get as much done as I wanted to. But I've still been successful in other things. Let's see. I did put in a couple more voice acting submissions. I'm still waiting to see if I get the roles or not. I'll probably do a few more this coming week. And then I got the script written out for the Halloween skit, and hopefully I can work with Thomas and Mom to get it done before the due date. So there's also that. I need to write the script for the next autism video, which is autism and why ableism is bad. So still need that done. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, right. Earlier today, I did manage to get the first recording done for the Tiny Dragons Treasure Trove books. So now I got to go through and take out the bad takes, keep the good takes, and then send them over to David and then see what he thinks. So, to make sure everything's good before we make this all public. So there's that. So I've been getting some stuff done here and there. And earlier this morning, I actually had a chat with someone, Miss Naomi, who wants to do an autism project of her own. And basically, from what I understand, it's basically going to be blogs about certain individuals, whether they be autistic individuals themselves or like parents of autistic individuals. So it's something to look forward to. It's still in the works. We haven't figured out a title yet. So it's probably going to be some time before I get to tell you more about it. So it's just a couple things to look forward to. And then lastly, on the Mediterranean diet, the lowest I weighed was about 212 or 211, which is great because that originally I started like 225 or 227. That means I have almost lost 15 pounds within about 1 month. No, 2 months. No, a month and a half. That's it, a month and a half. Within a month and a half, I have lost 15 pounds during this Mediterranean diet, and it's really good. Although I kind of cheated a tiny bit too much today, so that's gonna hurt me later. But it's not like I was excessive eating. I swear. Sharon says, "I love Naomi. She interviewed me months and months ago." Oh, nice. So even though I had the muscle spasm thing, even though I feel sick, I still managed to get a few things done, and I'm happy. Okay, I've kept you waiting long enough. Let's go ahead and talk about today's topic, which is the sciatica nerve pain. It sucks! I swear, it's one of the worst pains I've ever experienced. Right next to the time I broke the tibial and fibula bone on my right leg. But that's a tale for another time. So here's how it all started. It actually did not start last year, now that I'm thinking more about it. I think it actually started back when I was in Anne Arundel Community College. That's like over 10 years ago. One time, I was going to the bathroom, and as I was getting up from the toilet, I felt an incredibly sharp pain on my lower back. And I thought, oh, maybe I just pulled a muscle. So that I got over about a couple weeks. It was very uncomfortable, but I still got over it. So the more recent issue, like back then I thought it was just a muscle pulled. And then what happened was during last year, I think what happened was it was during work, and I was getting up from like a sitting position, and all of a sudden I feel the sharp pain again. It was like the lower back. It was like right along where the spine is. I'll show you. It was right around this area right here. So I thought it was like, okay, I pulled a muscle and I just give it some rest and it'll be better. As the days went on, the pain just got worse and worse. So what I eventually did was God, there is something in my ear. It's making it sound like a radio static. Ugh. Anyway, so what happened was, as the days go by, the pain just got worse and worse, to the point where it's like I didn't know what move to make or not make, to trigger the pain I was feeling. So eventually I went over to a doctor, have them look at it. And thankfully we concluded that it was nothing to do with the spine itself. Because like the pain was like, it was like around the spine, but not directly on the spine. If the pain was directly coming from the spine, that was like an entirely separate issue. That meant there was something wrong with the discs in the spine, and that would have required, probably a more involved solution, maybe possible surgery on that, and thank God it wasn't. So the doctor had recommended, just give a couple weeks, take some ibuprofen, see how it goes from there. Just wait and see what happens. At the time, I thought it was good advice until I got 1 week in. So 1 week in, I was in the hot tub, right? I was talking with Mom, and as I was getting up from the hot tub, the pain just skyrocketed. It shot through the roof. I was in so much pain that I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to hurt Mom's feelings. Like, I literally said, like, I can't talk while I'm in this much pain. So thankfully Mom left me alone for a bit. And it was like, it was a struggle just to get up. Like, I was on the ground in constant pain. I couldn't figure out like which way to turn to or what limbs I need to use to not make the pain any worse. So it took about a pretty good 5 minutes just to get up from the laying down position I had. And as I was getting up, I was like limping. It was that bad. I limped over to Mom and she was like, yeah, we're going to have to take you to ER. Like, it was so unbearable. Like, and bless Mom's heart, she was driving as carefully as possible not to, trigger the muscle pains even further. So we go to the urgent care, and it's so bad that I have to be in a wheelchair. So when we go there, when the doctor sees us, what happens is they do a series of tests. Hit the knee, see what kind of reaction you get, and then this is how we got introduced to the sciatica nerve. What happens is the doctor asks for me to lift my legs. So I lift the left leg and it's fine. But then as I lift the right leg, not even all the way, like maybe partially, what happens is as I'm lifting my left leg, the pain escalated a lot. And that was when the doctor had concluded, oh, it's not just muscle spasm, it's the sciatica nerve. And what's been happening is, during the muscle spasms, the muscles would vibrate and rub on the sciatica nerve, and that was causing the escalating pain. And it was the first time I learned about this, and I was like, why do I even need a sciatica nerve? Like, what function does it serve? So I look up sciatica nerve. The sciatic nerve located in the back of the leg. It supplies the muscles of the back of the knee and lower leg. The sciatic nerve also provides sensation to the back of the thigh, part of the lower leg, and the sole of the foot. So it's basically, it controls the sensations, it controls of the lower back and the back of the knee and the legs. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I need it. So after that, they gave me some emergency medicine to take, and thankfully that stopped the pain. But, it didn't really stop there. What happened next was not only did I have to take this different medicine than what was recommended to me before, but it's also there was also physical therapy involved. Like, I had to get my body to operate properly again. Like, during the sciatica pain, let me show you. During that sciatica pain, my body would literally bend from like one angle to another. It was like diagonal. And like I would literally like walk like this or like walk the other way like this. Like there was one side that would kind of leaned more than the other side. And every time I felt the sharp pain, my body would shift from one to the other, which made sleeping an unbearable experience, which is very cruel. So it was good to get some answers. And what happened was I was taking the medicine. I visit the first doctor I went to. And I kid you not, the doctor was like, I'm not sure where they got the sciatica nerve from. I'm pretty sure it was just muscle spasms. And, you know, while I was being polite during the visit, I was thinking to myself, you know, my body begs to differ, you know. Pretty sure I know what parts of my body is hurting. Like, I feel like I'm learning more and more about my body through pain, and that's like the worst way to learn it. It's like learning the different parts of your car if you've ever crashed one, you know? So I took the different medicines, and basically physical therapy was basically to help me get my sense of balance back. They also showed me different stretches I could do, which thankfully I still remember, like lifting one leg up all the way, hold it for like 40 seconds, move the knees from one end or the other, hold it for a certain amount of time. And another one they did was, let's see, what else did they do? There was one session where they were focusing on balance. Actually, two of them were focused on balance. And one of them was bend with your knees but keep your back straight. And I'm going to confess something really embarrassing to you. You ready? So, what's embarrassing about this is, ever since childhood, I've never learned about bending with your knees and not your back. Usually, I would just bend with my back to keep things. I would try to keep my legs straight. And back then, like, again, I just didn't understand the instructions, you know? And it's like, the way the physical therapist explained it, it all suddenly made perfect sense. So what he described was, keep the back straight as if you're, like, about to sit down. And as you're bending your knees, that's not it. As you're bending your knees, you keep your legs facing forward, the feet facing forward. And what happens is, as you're doing this, you're keeping the back straight, but both the front and the back of the feet are still planted to the ground. And I was like, that's how it works! I had no idea! So it's like, after all these years, I finally learned to bend with my knees and not my back. And all it took was a trip to the ER. Goody! So, there was that. And I also had to balance on a platform with a rubber ball underneath. And I had to do it with one leg for like, I think it was about a minute or so, maybe 40, 30 seconds. And then, you know, switch the feet. And the point of that was, you know, to find my sense of balance again. So, I went to physical therapy for about, you know, over a month. And, you know, eventually, the sciatica nerve went away. So, yay. Awesome. Fantastic. I wished it was the last of it. Because, like, that sciatica nerve experience I had last year, that's the reason I'm on the Mediterranean diet right now. Because, if you're overweight or obese, you know, as much as I hate to admit it, like me, what happens is that the more you weigh, the harder it becomes for your sciatica nerve, because that weight around the chest area is kind of pulling down and kind of stresses out the muscles and the sciatica nerve even more. So the reason I am on this Mediterranean diet is that I don't have to deal with this sciatica pain anymore. So that's the plan anyway. That's the hope. But what happened was a couple years ago. No, not a couple of years ago. What happens is, fast forward to this year, a couple weeks ago, I was getting up from a kneeling position from the locker room, and I felt the sharp pain again. I was like, okay, I just gotta take it easy. I've dealt with this before. This isn't my first rodeo. And what happens is, as the work day went on, it got worse and worse and worse. And it was like to the point where I had to have a stool to help out, and unfortunately that didn't help much. So eventually I chose to leave early because, I couldn't do anything else. Like, I couldn't risk the pain getting any worse. So I left early. And what happens is, next morning, it still hasn't gone away. So I called Kaiser to figure out, if I could see a doctor that day. And I checked with my first doctor. Unfortunately, he didn't have any availabilities until early October. I am not going to wait that long. But thankfully, I got in touch with the right person. She found a doctor that could see me today. So I thought I was good enough to get there on my own. I didn't need an ambulance vehicle because Lord knows how much that would cost. So what happens is I drive over to the doctor's place, right? And during that time, as I was getting in the car, the pain was so bad I was singing an opera. I was like, oh! I kid you not. That's the noise I was making as I was getting in the car seat. Like, it just went that bad. And, like, the worst of it was when I got to the hospital, I turned from a singing opera to a screaming banshee. Like, as I was getting out of the car, like, out of the driver's seat, I was screaming bloody murder. Like, I was screaming like it was the worst pain ever. Well, right next to the breaking the tibia and fibula, but again, that's another story. And, like, what happens is, like, I'm in so much pain, I'm screaming so loud, basically everyone there heard me. And as I was walking there, I kid you not, here's how I walked to the hospital. Here. So what happens is, like, my arms were out, and I was limping. Because, like, I was in so much pain. I was limping like this. It looked like I was a zombie looking to feed on flesh. It was like I was disfigured. I was limping and wobbling. My arms were out like this. Like, people were looking at me like, what? You okay, bro? Are you right? But thankfully, thank God, there was a doctor that was out there. Like, do you need some help? I was like, yes. Like, I could not talk much. I was in so much pain. I was trying my best not to say anything bad. Like, thankfully, some other doctors came out and gave me a wheelchair. And I'll tell you what, I never felt like an old man more than last week. I'll tell you that. Because, like, I was in so much pain. I could barely focus. I could barely move. I was in a wheelchair, and I was in so much pain. I needed someone to help me get to the doctor's office for them to see me. Like, I felt like my age just went 40 years fast forward. It was that bad. I felt like that was the closest I've ever felt to being an old man, and it sucked. But thankfully the doctors said they were really nice. They were really understanding. And so I visited the doctor, or one of them anyway, and she asked me if I needed to go to the ER. And, originally I wasn't thinking about it because the ER really helped last year, but it's so expensive. In fact, I'm still paying off that earlier visit because I keep getting letters from, like, the urgent care saying I owed, like, $650. I was like, oh, that's probably junk mail. I keep getting it again and again and again and again. I was like, okay, maybe I need to call this number and figure out what's up. So I call them, and they tell me, and they look up my account, and they said, yes, you still owe this much. I was like, wait a minute, what about my medical insurance with work? Doesn't that cover it? And she looks at the account and was like, oh yes, it covered it. Originally it was $1,300. I was like, whoa, $1,300? That's more than that's just as much as I make in a month. at least back then. But it's like, okay, it covered it, but not all of it. So I was like, well, okay, it's good to know that the medical benefit worked somewhat. So I set up a monthly payment so I didn't have to pay it all at once, so I can better finance everything. It's like, my goal was to never go to ER again because, it's very expensive. So, but unfortunately, at the time when I was in so much pain, I was actually considering it because, I was in so much pain, I couldn't think straight. I was willing to consider ER. But then the other doctor came in, we talked about it, and basically told me, if you were to go to ER, they would recommend the same things that I'm about to recommend. So let me share with you the medicines I was taking. And remember, this could vary from person to person, so please don't take my word for it. Ask a doctor before you do this. So one of them was methylprednisolone, and I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong. It's a very long word. Why do you think I don't remember any of this? So the first one I mentioned, methylprednisolone, is a medicine that's supposed to help with reducing the muscle swelling, because the muscle swelling was what triggered the sciatica nerve in the first place and why it keeps escalating. The other one, which I still have, with that first medicine, there's specific instructions and you need to follow it to the note. The second one I have is cyclobenzaprine. And I still have those, and I take those 1 to 3 times a day. Usually I try to go for keep it at 2 max, okay, so I can ration them out. So thankfully, I got those medicines, and that last doctor I saw really saved me a trip to the ER and saved me a whole lot of money. Yep. So, I've been taking those, and I still remember some of the physical therapy stuff, like the stretches, and when I'm sleeping, I put a pillow between my legs, to help level out the spine as I'm sleeping. And, it's pretty much there now. It's pretty much good. Not 100% yet, but give it a few more days and it'll be good. And, thankfully the workplace was understanding. They gave me the time needed to rest and recover. They've been very nice about it. So, but the bad thing about it is that it cost me the remaining sick hours I had. That sucks. So I gotta build all those sick hours again. But thankfully, with the way things are, I can build them up much faster than the old system they have. And as I'm getting over this second sciatica nerve, I think the whole point of losing weight was to avoid the sciatica nerve, and yet, I've lost 15 pounds, but I'm still dealing with it. And, it really makes me wonder, is there going to be a third time? Is there going to be a fourth time? Is this going to be, a consistent thing I have to deal with? And thankfully, I looked up some research, and it's as you lose more weight, it should take some load off the sciatica nerve. So hopefully once I get to the desired weight that I want, hopefully I'll never have to deal with this again. So that is the hope. It's also why I gotta remember to keep drinking water. I should say water, not beer. Get your mind out of the gutter. But it's I feel like the third time this happens, I'm gonna be better prepared. I actually know what medicines to ask for now. So if this happens a third time, I just go over to Kaiser, get ahead of the curve and recommend those medicines. Now, the thing is, you don't want to be taking muscle relaxatives all the time because they can have some serious side effects. So, if you haven't taken it after a while, or if you haven't done it in a while and you still need it, that'll be fine. But, again, please, ask your doctor before you do this, okay? Because that's very important, so. And that's basically my experience with sciatica nerve. It sucks. It's painful. I never want to do this again. And, I know that I originally wanted to, do this stream about, how masking makes me feel, but I feel like this was a more pressing matter to attend to, and also explaining why I was not, why I didn't stream last week because I was feeling so bad. And so, but I hope you understand. Next Friday, we will have that live stream on, how masking makes me feel, because that's another important topic. And it's like, I've been, asking some people. Some say it's bad, or others say it's necessary. It works for them. So I'm definitely gonna have to do a bit more research, and figure out why some autistic people choose to mask, why some don't like it, why some people find it useful, to kind of combine some research with my personal experience. And what I may do is, let's see, I may do an autism video, like a typical Toastamac video about masking. It probably won't be until November, because the way I have the autism videos planned for October is the first autism video in October is going to talk about why ableism is bad. And then the next autism video will be about, some tips about Halloween or trick-or-treating. Because, I feel like that Halloween video needs an update, because it was several years ago, back before I even had a green screen. And then, that was A. And then B, or 2, if you're keeping track, the other thing is that, ableism is a serious topic, and I don't want it to be like serious topic after serious topic. I want to, make it a little fun, lighten the mood a little bit. So ableism will be the serious topic, and then the tips for Halloween will be a more fun video, Maybe I'll dress up in a different outfit. So that's basically all there is. If you want to share your experience with sciatica nerve pain, or maybe you have something else related that you had to go to the doctor or ER for, feel free to share it with us in the comments section below. And on that note, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. So thank you very much for watching, everybody, whether you're watching it live or watching it in person. Oh, no, watching it live or watching it later. That's what I meant to say. It's like, that's the big difference between doing live streams and, like, doing pre-edited stuff. Like, I actually take out the mistakes and the stuff like that. So yeah, if you enjoyed what you see, consider liking and subscribing to Toastamac, and click on the bell icon to stay up to date in our latest videos. Oh, right. Hold up. Next Friday, expect a video. So next Friday, expect a video that is going to advertise a very special live stream we will have. Like September 29th, you should expect a YouTube short where I'm talking about the Tiny Dragons Treasure Trove giveaway live stream. So I'll give all the details on that. So it's just something to look forward to. I'll probably post that short Friday morning, and then we'll have the live stream at 6 p.m. usual time. All right? So, that's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. And until the next live stream, see you later. I'm kidding. Or am I?